Oh, silence. Oh, what an uncomfortable state to be in sometimes. Some people have a lot of fear around being with their own thoughts, being alone. Ooh, it's kind of like a sketchy feeling for some people, but then other people, I find a lot of joy in it. But do you find distractions to help you be alone? Do you enjoy being in your own company? Do you enjoy being present and doing your own thing without distractions, without streaming and scrolling and substances or whatever else there may be? Maybe even socializing, if you use socializing as a crutch to avoid being alone in your own company. Ooh, what a big topic today, yeah? I'm going to check my notes here. There's a really fine line between what a lot of the general population seems to do. There's a lot of the population that's like seeking attention constantly. They're really loud in public. They're obnoxious. They're blah. Or there's the entire opposite side where they can't get far enough away from this group of people. And so they tend to recluse. Neither space has a lot of room for silence. Some people in this group may think that they enjoy it, but you'd be surprised by how many really can't stand it. So how do you begin to practice these kinds of things? First of all, you need to make sure that you can do a self-check-in, have that self-reflection before you dive into the practices I will be stating very shortly here. If you have any types of ideation, it may be best to start very slow, or if you know that you are battling with self-loathing, or you're battling with any sort of addiction that gets really, really crept up into your mind when you're in these states of aloneness. If you are experiencing any of that, start by just taking a moment. Literally set a timer on your phone. 1 minute, just silence. No music, no movies, no streaming or scrolling, nothing at all. Just 1 minute, 60 seconds. Pause, breathe, connect. 1 minute's up. Okay, boom. Now you go turn on your Netflix. You go take your time. Go have yourself a nice evening or morning, whatever you may be doing. And then the next time, raise it to 1 minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes. And keep elevating it until you can train your brain to be comfortable and know that it is safe to be alone. That takes skill. It takes patience. It takes a lot of practice, especially if you're coming out of these very tense and stressful states like ideation, addiction, or self-loathing. So how do you begin to get deeper into these practices of being alone? How do you practice this? What's the value of it? Well, the value of it, first of all, is peace. No matter where you go, no matter who you are with, no matter all of the things you could possibly be doing in the world, you will be with yourself at the bare minimum. If you're not comfortable with yourself or who you are, how you exist in the world, you will find it very difficult to find peace in this state. But if and when you find peace in your own company, then you can start to expand your personality. You can start to expand the ambitions that you have and connect deeper with your roots, yourself, your soul, and making time for you, taking better care of yourself, live longer, laugh louder, all of these different things that are a side effect of enjoying your own company, and that comes directly from being okay in your own silence. So how do we address this, right? There's a bunch of different questions that we can ask. First of all, one of the first questions I asked, are you okay with your contents? What's in here? Do you enjoy your own company? Do you enjoy the person you are in the world, or do you have regrets about how you interact throughout the day? Are you comfortable by yourself? And that can come in a lot of different shapes. Are you comfortable and trust yourself to be alone with? Or do you trust your environment to be comfortable to be alone with? Those could be two different things entirely. It's so easy to keep chasing escape and chasing the next thing. Just stop. I'm just kidding. That's really, really difficult to do, especially when we're caught up in this 9 to 5 hubbub kind of thing that we do on a daily basis. We wake up, we clock in, we eat, we work, we go to sleep. Do it again in the morning. There's not a lot of room outside of that. And when we're outside of this space, if you're not content with your contents, you will seek a distraction or an escape. Hobbies, on one hand, are a good distraction. They're healthy. They can come with or without you playing music or watching a movie in the background if you can be present with yourself while you create and be proud of what you're building or creating or painting or whatever it may be. That is beautiful. But if you're using outside stimuli, outside of your own creativity, your own ambition, your own passions, that's where we get into that escapism. So how do we start, right? We got the minutes. We can sit there for a minute. We can sit there for a minute, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes. So what's next? How do we apply this to the day-to-day, not when we are in this alone time? How do we connect with ourselves and recognize how we exist in space and build up joy with the individual that you are? I have a really fancy tool for that. So these are called TengDios mindfulness beads. This is my own version. Excuse my nails not being painted. So this is an interactive form of mindfulness. Each of these beads slides so that way you can anchor yourself with breath or affirmation. Let me get that one to move. This one is the fanciest one I've made. It has 3 different sections. So there's 3 different things that you could focus on if you would like. And just a little cute thing. It has a tiny little frog on it. It makes me really happy. Anyways, so as you're moving throughout your day to practice building a relationship with yourself, especially in the hubbubby kind of 9 to 5 world that we live in, this is a fantastic tool for that. You wear it. A lot of people who get anxiety or are working through reactive emotions such as anger or frustration, it's common that people fidget. They want to play with something. They want to do that self-soothing. This is a great tool for that as well. But the other thing is, as soon as you are in this state, you're wearing it, you make contact with it to fidget, recognize, pause. Okay, I'm fidgeting. I'm having a moment of anxiety. I'm having a moment of frustration. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale. Slide a bead down. And release. You've grounded yourself, hopefully, or at least recognized at the bare minimum that you needed grounding. This is a great starting point. And at the very end of the day, let's say you do that 3 times. Okay, let me slide one more down. Okay, 3 times. And now you get to look at this and recognize that there were 3 times that you chose yourself and what you needed. That's incredible. This can also work for addictive personalities. If you are working out a craving, you're trying to get away from, you're trying to build a new habit, or if you're trying to break an old habit, this is a great tool for that as well. When you're having these moments of craving or habitual action, pause. And it's hard, but even if you just do it once throughout the day and you slide the bead, you're like, Oh, I did that. Yay. At the very end of the day, you get to recognize all those wonderful times that you rebuilt and are actively rewiring your brain to say, that is no longer serving us. And then celebrate. Take a moment, eat a cookie, if that's not a habit you're trying to break, of course, or whatever you need to do to treat yourself. Release that little extra bit of dopamine to help really set in the neural network that this is a good thing to be working on. It'll get easier over time. How do you build the next step of your practice around this? Finding a time to be alone with yourself for a meal. It could be any meal of your choosing. No company. Maybe some soft music, preferably none at all if you can. No lyrics, at least. And definitely no Netflix, as hard as that's to say, or any streaming platforms. And just pause with your meal. Whether it's a microwave dinner or something you spent 9 hours cooking for yourself, which is a huge act of self-love, by the way. Maybe not a full 9 hours, I don't do that, but insert time here. And pausing and being, acknowledging the textures of the food, acknowledging the texture of your fork, the sound of your plate as soon as the fork makes contact. Hopefully none of the squeaky sounds. We don't like that. Is your napkin soft? Is your water room temperature or cold? Being present and anchored with the flavors, the sensations, and maybe even the sounds. You know, if you got a baguette and it's got that crunch, that is a beautiful sensation to be present for. What next? Okay, that's easy. We did that, right? At some point. You got this. How do you elevate this practice even further? Try to do a media cleanse. One day without absolutely anything. No streaming, no scrolling, no music if you can. And see what you can do with that time. You could do it with a friend if you'd like, but do it with intention. Maybe acknowledge to them exactly what you're doing, what practice you are working on right now in that moment. And the most advanced practice that I could provide in this moment for you, as far as I've gone in my own personal practice, is doing a day of silence. No speaking whatsoever for an entire day. I typically do it on Sundays. You will not find me posting audio unless it was pre-filmed of my voice on Sundays. And I try to go to a non-denominational church or any sort of spiritual place, whether that be on a hike, just so that way I can be in my company and be present with my thoughts. And really, the biggest part of this practice in particular is being aware of when you would react. If you get that sensation of someone cut you off in traffic and you're going to yell to no one, because no one's in the car probably with you on your way home or to work. Whew. Nothing. And acknowledging, okay, that was a moment that I would have been reactive. Forcing yourself into that silence, respecting that silence. That's the entire practice. It's connecting with you, who you are, your natural tendencies, and rewiring your brain neuroplasticity. New word, maybe. If these are practices that you're going to take on, I do highly recommend that if you are in a volatile state, whether it's ideation, addiction, self-loathing, or you just have anxiety, it's really difficult for you to be alone with yourself, or you have to work with media and it's impossible for you to take a media cleanse, just ask a friend. Tell them what you're working on, tell them how you're trying to go about these things, and so that way if you are really struggling and having a hard time, you have someone trusted that you can reach out to. And this could be your therapist, this could be your best friend, it could be your mom, or it could be your neighbor even. Shout out to my neighbor, she's amazing. And finally, your presence is present enough. I remember that from Kung Fu Panda. Alrighty guys, that's all I have for you today. If you are interested in the TengDios mindfulness beads, you can place an order on my Instagram by sending a DM with the word mindfulness, and we can discuss what colors you want, what size you are, and what the purpose and intention is behind what you are using it for, so that way we can anchor it towards that. And this entire video, per always, is inspired by my own workbook that I release every month. It's a subscription called TengDios. It's about 150 pages with about one prompt per day. So 30 prompts, 150 pages, all based around the moon phases for your own unique path to self-actualization. All right. I love you. Be present, find silence, live spicy. I'll see you on the other side, and TengDios. Bye!